Are you trying to save the feeble young adults or go for those sweet, sweet gas mines? Either way, you'll need a great build for the bots that can deal with all of them solo on the hardest difficulty. That's where I test my builds, which means that these builds will work amazingly for squads. I've got two loadouts for you guys in this video, one using the Recoilless Rifle and one using the Railgun. And I'll also be telling you guys why I don't like using the Quasar Cannon on the bots. Even though I did notice it's a popular option right now, there are some major downsides in my opinion. So first of all, let's just get out of the way the armor and the grenade. I always run for this faction pretty much no matter what loadout I'm using. The armor set I use is the Enforcer. It's the explosive resistance with 129 armor rating. It's classed as a medium armor, but it's basically the only medium plus. This is just the best armor in my opinion. I survive the most when I'm wearing this set, so I pretty much always use it. And for the grenade, I pretty much always run thermites because they take out stray tanks, hulks, fabricators with a single throw. You can even chuck a couple at a factory strider to take them out. And I do just think it's the overall best option because the bots do have probably the most heavily armored units compared to anything else. So for both loadouts, this is the armor and the grenade I'm using. All right, so first build for the bots, we'll be using the Recoilless Rifle because it's just generally accepted as the best support weapon for the bots, and I kind of think so too. However, with that being said though, I do think if a lot of people are already running this on your loadout, then you should actually go for the Railgun loadout, because it's kind of like mixing and matching and making your team overall better to deal with all the threats. But first up is my Recoilless loadout, and first of all, when it comes to primary weapons, you do have quite a few choices. In general, I would stick to the medium penetrating weapons. Now, my favorite primary for the bots, just straight up, and my favorite with this loadout is the Diligence Counter Sniper, because it can one-tap all of the mobs, you know, Devastators in the head, Rocket Striders in the rockets, small bots in the head, body, or legs, and technically Berserkers in the face, although let's be real, their face hitbox is pretty small. Usually I just spam them out. The beauty of the Counter Sniper though is that even if you have trouble hitting those headshots, which let's be real, on heavy Devastators it can be tough, you can kind of just spam them in the body. I think it's only like 5 shots to the body, which is pretty solid. The Diligence Counter Sniper is also great at dealing with gunships or factory strider chin guns if you're in a pinch, if you really need to. And it has a nice fire rate compared to something like the Purifier or the crossbow. But with that being said, the Purifier and the crossbow are the other two great options paired with the Recoilless Rifle. In general, like I said, you want a medium pen weapon, so if you are using the anti-tank badass Recoilless launcher, it does have limited ammo. You know, you only get 6 shots with it. You're pretty much only using it for the biggest threats. So a medium pen primary kind of covers all of your bases when you kind of need more ammo for the rest of the mobs or battlefield. Okay, so the secondary weapon I choose kind of depends on which primary you choose. If I wanted to bring the crossbow, for example, it can be a little bit awkward because, you know, I only have 5 bolts, so like if there's a ton of small bots nearby and they're not tightly bunched together, like they're kind of running at me one at a time, I find it a bit awkward to just waste a bunch of crossbow ammo on just like 1 or 2 small bots at a time. So usually in that case, I'll bring the dagger. The dagger is amazing at just cleaning up small bots. It's also pretty good at taking out berserkers, which is kind of crazy. But with the Diligence Counter Sniper, and this is why I like bringing it, because I have more ammo compared to something like the crossbow, and with some well-placed shots, I can pretty much deal with everything. So when I bring the Counter Sniper, I like to bring something like the Senator because it does have that cool factor, but obviously the Ultimatum is going to be amazing if you want to deal with like stratagem jammers with your secondary. Now keep in mind for like, you know, the footage in the background, I did bring the Senator with me because I just like swapping to it, and it has really great time to kills on all the mobs, and it can kill hulks too. All right, so on to the stratagems. The staple stratagem for every bot loadout is just straight up Eagle Strafing Run. You get 5 uses. The bots tend to line up pretty well, so it's great at taking out lines of mobs. It's really, really good for patrols. On top of that, it takes out fabricators, and just being an all-around great stratagem for this faction. And also, if you aim it really well, you can even kill hulks sometimes with it. If it doesn't get them in one, sometimes you'll get them with the second one, but it can also kill those pesky command bunker turrets. Just great stratagem for any loadout. Now, another staple I use in a lot of my bot loadouts, this one not as much as the strafing run, but it is the Rocket Sentry. It overall just has tons of ammo. It sustains just like lots and lots of firepower over a longer period of time, and it works great against literally every single enemy that the bots have. It has enough range to take out gunships. groups of Devastators, even Factory Striders if it lives and lands enough rockets in one spot. And to be honest, the Factory Strider's pretty bad at killing it for whatever reason, but you know, sometimes other enemies can take it out. But for what it's worth, I've had a Rocket Sentry kill a Factory Strider more than one time, and it's just overall amazing. Now for the last slot in this loadout, it is absolutely a flex slot. It is completely your choice. Now, I was just messing around with the autocannon sentry because I was playing solo. I was like, let me just get another sentry just as a distraction tool, and it did okay. Now, in general, I do like to bring a barrage, especially the 120 barrage, because of its low cooldown. It's great when there's like a big bot drop that comes in and gets out of hand, or like, you know, start off your assault on the mega base with the 120. Or you could bring something like the precision strike would work well here because, like I said, I chose to run the Senator instead of the ultimatum. Technically with this loadout, I didn't actually have anything to take out, you know, detector towers or stratagem jammers besides using the hell bomb. And actually when I got to the mega base in this solo run, I did run into the one with a detector tower, and I had no way to destroy it in my base loadout. But luckily I do know that there's a cannon turret in this base, so I destroyed it in a creative way that I'm hopefully showing you guys in the background right now. Okay, so overall the Recoilless Rifle is pretty much accepted as the best weapon for this faction. However, like I said, if a couple people in your squad are already running this, then I recommend running the Railgun because it's going to make you a little bit more versatile for mobbing. Now, this Railgun loadout, I'm specifically giving you guys because I've seen a lot of people taking the Quasar Cannon, and I think people pick the Quasar Cannon over the Recoilless because they get that backpack slot. But to be honest with you guys, I've always thought, you know, the Quasar's always been popular against bots, and it used to be a lot worse. Right now, I think it's okay. You know, bots are generally pretty easy in my opinion, so like it's fine. But like for me personally, it doesn't even one-shot tanks from the front. It doesn't one-shot cannon turrets from the front. It doesn't one-shot the Factory Strider from the front, compared to its counterpart, the Recoilless Rifle. Now, I think there's two main reasons I see people running this. The first is shooting hulks in the body, and it just kind of one-shots them without having to aim for the eye, but for what it's worth, it has a really long cooldown before you can shoot it again. At any given moment, you know, there's a POI you can walk up to where there's like 4 hulks just sitting there. So I really don't think the Quasar Cannon is a great tool for dealing with just straight up hulks. Now, the other main reason I think people run this is to snipe fabricators from a long distance. Now, personally, I pretty much kill every fabricator with Eagle Strafing Run and Thermite. And I usually even do this in the Recoilless build, although for what it's worth, when I'm running Recoilless, you can just shoot fabricators and hit a resupply. Now again, I often full clear bot missions that I do, and I do this solo. Well, you know, sometimes I don't full clear because I can't find one of those secondary objectives, but I always clear all the heavy bases, and I definitely always go into the mega base. And no matter what loadout I'm using, even when I'm messing around with my stalwart solo against the bots, I have no problem taking out all the fabricators with Eagle Strafing Run and Thermites. So the reason that people like to run the Quasar to one-shot fabricators, I just do not think it makes up for the downsides that this weapon has, not having good breakpoints against the heavier units, and then also just having super long cooldown for the amount of Hulk spam you can get sometimes, or like if there's multiple gunships flying in the air. All right, so with that being said, I think the weapon that absolutely outclasses the Quasar is the Railgun. It doesn't one-shot Hulks to the body, but it literally safe shots them to the eye. And to be honest with you guys, I don't always hit those eye shots either. So sometimes what I do is I go for full charge shots on the Hulk. That way, if I miss that eye shot, Hulks actually die to 2 really charged up railgun shots. Now, if they're not fully charged up, you can pretty much kill them in the body with like 3, you know, like almost full charge shots. Another way you can deal with Hulks with the railgun is you can like half charge any of their limbs off. You could shoot their weapons off, but what you can do is shoot a leg off, which actually staggers them and interrupts their attack, and then shoot the other leg off. So if you're bad at hitting the eye, you can 2-shot Hulks in the legs with a railgun. Now, I already told you guys I'm using Thermite in both of these builds. That's going to be great for bigger threats such as tanks, and we're also using the Ultimatum, which is great for Factory Striders. Now, with the Railgun, you can one-shot their chin guns off, so disarm their chin guns. That way you can get a little bit closer to get that Ultimatum shot off. And it's kind of, once you get used to playing with the Railgun, you realize it is just so much better against the bots. I honestly think it's maybe the second best weapon after the Recoilless Rifle. I don't know. I really, really love using the railgun against the bots. It's super satisfying once you play with it a lot more and get used to those charge times. Oh yeah, did I mention those cringe command bunker turrets that ragdoll you nonstop? Oh, by the way, the railgun one-shots them. Oh, a bunch of gunships come flying at you. Hey, the railgun one-shots those with a decently charged up shot to the engine. I don't even think it's a full charge. All right, I hope I did my best, used car salesman pitch for why you should bring the railgun. So let's talk about primary weapons. Now, actually, surprisingly, I actually take light pen primary weapons with lots of ammo for dealing with all of the mobs that the bots have, because light pen is actually good for mobbing. It's just kind of like with the recoilless loadout, since you have low ammo with the recoilless, I do bring medium pen weapons with that, because I kind of need to deal with a wider range of threats. But since the railgun is so good at dealing with all the medium enemies, light pen weapon actually pairs very well with it, because you just get a ton of ammo. So great options are the scythe, the sickle, the straight up regular diligence, and even if the tenderizer if you prefer that assault rifle. Now for this run I was using the sickle, and oh my god, I forgot how good this weapon is against the bots. It straight up 2 taps devastators in the face. And you actually don't even need to aim super well, because you're spamming them with volume of fire. So you just literally spam it at them. It's like a mini stalwart, and it's gonna land those 2 taps insanely fast. Obviously, you just spray it down against berserkers, small bots, and you can even aim at the rocket strider rockets. It'll kill those pretty quick too. All right, so those are your options for primaries. The beauty of the railgun is getting to run a backpack. I pretty much always pair this with the supply pack on bots. That way I can really spam my railgun against any enemy. But realistically, the railgun does have good ammo economy. You could bring a jetpack or a shield pack if you want. But honestly, the supply pack is so amazing because you get tons of thermite to just take out heavy bases super easily, or the mega base. You get extra ultimatum shots, which is super clutch when the those super heavy threats come through. But take whatever backpack you want. I just truly think the supply pack is like still the best backpack in the game. All right, now the other 2 stratagems I have always loved using with the railgun, even against the bugs, has been strafing run and orbital gatling barrage. Both of these stratagems have anti-tank armor pen. They are either high usage like the strafing run or low cooldown like the gatling barrage. So this makes them great for mobbing, but they also pepper those heavy enemies, and you can combine these with like railgun shots against like tanks, for example. The railgun is not the best weapon to take out a tank, but if a tank took a strafing run or, was getting peppered by orbital gatling barrage for a while, usually a few railgun shots will finish it off. So those are my 2 favorite stratagems when I use the railgun, no matter what I'm playing against. And they're also just straight up great for fabricators. The orbital gatling barrage will actually probably only kill 1 fabricator, so maybe it's not the best option, but you do get 5 uses out of that strafing run. All right, and that's the video. Let me know which build you liked better. And like I said, if no one on your squad brings a recoilless, you should consider bringing one, as it's just amazing right now against this faction. And if a couple of your friends are bringing a recoilless, then let them deal with the dropships and factory striders. You pick the railgun so that you can, get some well-aimed shots and snipe off tons of hulks. That way they can focus their heavy firepower at the factory striders. You can also just deal with tons of mobs. The railgun one-tapping berserkers, which is super nice, with like safe charge shots, by the way, devastators, packs of rocket striders, because it safe shots, one-shots the rocket striders. It's actually a really good thing to pick your loadout based on what your teammates are bringing. That way your games end up being easier, and then you can kill farm a little bit at extract. And when it comes down to it, both of these builds work solo. I run both of these builds often in solo bots, so go finish the major order, or if you're watching this in the next bot major order, good luck with that one too. Like this video and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.